All right. I think we are live. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this webinar. This is attorney Veronica McClendon. I am your host today for this webinar. It's my first time doing YouTube and Zoom on my phone, so kind of novice here. But good afternoon, everybody. This is attorney Veronica McClendon, the family land lawyer. I'm located in the state of Georgia, Macon, Georgia, to be precise. And I do want y'all to know that the stuff that I am talking about today is going to be relevant for Georgia law. So if you live in another state, the laws may be different. The way that things are handled may be different than what I'm talking about today. I also want you to know that whether or not you live in Georgia, whether or not your family's property is in Georgia, you need to talk with a lawyer about your own personal situation. Please do not just take the advice in this video and think that it sounds legal advice. I mean, it's sound advice, but things may be different depending on your own personal circumstances. So I want you to make sure that if you hear something that you want to take action on, make sure that you run it by a lawyer that's licensed in your jurisdiction. Here I am in Georgia. And so if I can help you in the state of Georgia with anything, or if there's a question you have related to Georgia property, let me know and I'd be happy to support you. So give us a call. Our information is going to be in the description below. And if you need help with something, you can call us or send us an email, go to our website, whatever makes the most sense to you. So now that I've gotten that all off the table, I wanted to talk to y'all about something that's really been bothering me lately. I was doing some research on quiet title actions in Georgia, trying to figure out how Georgia courts are treating heirs property cases when they come up in quiet title proceedings. So a lot of times when we are dealing with heirs property, we're trying to figure out how to get a court order that what we call vests. I'm trying to think of the non-lawyer word. That basically puts the property in the name of the person that we're representing as our client. And a lot of times there are a lot of different strategies that we have to use to try to accomplish this. And one of those is quiet title. So I was doing some research to see how courts handle quiet title cases as they pertain to heirs property. And I was just like looking through cases all over the state of Georgia. And I saw one from Macon, and I thought, well, that would be interesting to read about so I can see how the local courts are handling heirs property cases related to quiet title. And as I was reading the details of the case, I noticed that the name sounded really familiar. So I was like, man, why do these names sound familiar? Why is this family sounding so familiar? I looked at the address to the property and it felt familiar. It felt like I had been there or knew someone who lived there. And I kept reading, and finally I ran across the name of one of my former clients. And I'm not going to tell y'all her name for confidentiality reasons, but I ran across her name in this quiet title case. And I just kept reading and realized that she had died a few years prior to the case being brought before the court. And the thing that really struck me is that the court case said that she died without a will. And so I'm reading that and I'm like, hold up, she did not die without a will, because I'm the one who did her will. I remember her very clearly when we did her will. There were a lot of different family dynamics that we had to talk through in order to get her will in place. So I know I did her will. And I know specifically that we talked about the importance of probating the will. We especially talked about how to protect the will from certain family members. And maybe this is where things kind of went a little wrong, but we talked with her about putting the will in a safe place that would be away from certain family members who might have an interest in destroying that will, because they would have gotten less under the will than they would according to state law. And so we talked with her about the importance of protecting that will from family members who might have a bad interest, who might want to destroy it so that they can get more. And we also talked to her about making sure the person that she did want to see it, that they knew where it was. I always tell my clients, make sure that your will is in a place where the people you don't want to get it can't access it, and the people who you do want to be able to access it, that they know where to find it and that they can get to it. And so I don't know what happened. I'm sure, she was already elderly and already had some disabilities. So perhaps she wasn't able to talk with her family about this. I don't know what happened, but I do know that will that we prepared for her did not end up going to probate. Maybe the thing that we feared happened. Maybe the family members who were going to get less under the will did find it and destroyed it, but they didn't do anything else about anything. They didn't actually go to the probate court to get the ownership of the property changed over. So I wanted to talk to y'all about that today. We have these monthly estate planning webinars in my firm, and we talk to people about why you should have a will, why you should create a trust. Do you need a will? Do you need a trust? Which one is best in different circumstances? But what we don't talk about as much is why you have to probate the will. And after seeing that case, it's one of those things that I'm going to have to talk about a lot more during webinars like this and in other settings, because it's no point in me creating a will for you if when you die, your family does not probate the will. A lot of people get that confused. They think, well, if I create a will, my family can avoid probate court. And that's actually not how it works. Wills are designed to be sent through probate court. Now, it's a trust that someone could create that would allow them to avoid probate court. And a lot of families opt not to create a trust. They want to have a will. And it's important that people know that that will still has to be probated. Now, when I'm talking with my clients, I'll talk with them about this. I say, hey, if you want to avoid probate, a trust is going to be a better option. But if you are okay with your family having to go through probate court, then we can create a will, but they're going to have to probate it. And I'm going to probably start doing more to make sure that the family members are educated about probating the will. Because I don't know, some clients may or may not understand all of the process that's required and be able to communicate it to their family members. But it is something that's so critical, because if you have a will prepared and your family does not actually take the steps to take it to probate court and probate that will, then that will is just a piece of paper. The person named as the executor in the will does not become the executor until that will is probated. Any property that you specifically gave to particular people, they don't actually get to get control of that property until the will is probated and the executor is appointed, and then that person now has the legal authority to transfer ownership of the property to the beneficiaries named in the will. None of this happens until the will is actually sent through probate court and the will is probated. So it's important that if you are creating a will, that you talk with your family members about the importance of probating that will. Make sure that the first person that you named as executor in your will knows about your will, that they know where to find it, and that they know that they need to try to probate it within 6 months of your death. Make sure that the second executor knows that. And if you have a third, make sure that they know as well. Sometimes people like to keep it secret. They don't want their family to know that they have a will. Like in the client I mentioned before, we had some sensitive situations where we didn't want everybody knowing about that will. However, you do want to make sure that the person who actually has the legal requirement of probating the will, you want to make sure that they know where to find it and that they know that they need to probate it. Even making sure that they know who your attorney was who prepared the will, so they can maybe reach out to them to get advice on how to probate the will, or perhaps even hire them to handle the probate of the will. So those are just some things I wanted to talk with y'all about today. I'm going to see if there's anyone with some questions. If you are here with me on Zoom, feel free to unmute and ask any questions that you have. Or if you are on YouTube, then put your questions in the chat and I will see if I can access those and be able to answer them here while we are live. So while I do my little tech thing and try to figure this out, just let me know if y'all have any questions. This is not my forte just yet. Well, I don't know if it ever will be. We're going to work on getting somebody to help me run the tech side of things soon. Let's see. I feel like when I'm looking at myself, I feel like an older person. Oh, goodness. Trying to see everything on here. Let's see. How does this work? Okay. Well, I'm going to just go ahead and close out this video because I don't know how to find YouTube anymore. I've lost it. Let me see my old person thing. Oh, no offense to anybody who's of a certain age. Okay. I guess there it is. So I am not sure if my YouTube even did anything, but if it didn't, I'll just upload this later. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I will be back next month for another webinar. In fact, actually, I'll be back at the end of this month for another webinar because I'm going to do one on a Sunday. Now, the date, that is to be remembered. Let me see the date. Y'all. I'll figure it out later, but I will post about the date for the next one in the description. And I will also make sure that we share that online and here on YouTube. Y'all have a great day, and I will be back again.